Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
Christian Carambeu.
Welcome to your footballing fix.
Pitch Talk.
Pitch Talk.
Pitch Talk.
We've got football videos on YouTube, blogs, debates and discussion on Facebook and Twitter.
Plus we do a podcast and so much more.
It's we the people, for the people.
For our videos, including our interviews and special features, check out youtube.com/pitch talk.
Our podcast can be found on iTunes, Podomatic, TuneIn Radio and Spreaker, with older podcasts on mixcloud.com/pitch talk. Join the football revolution, because the pitch is where we eat,
The pitch is where we sleep.
and the pitch is where we talk. Join us on social media by searching for Pitch Talk.
Hey everybody, what's up? I am Straight Shootin LJA and welcome to another episode of the Straight Shootin View, presented to you by Pitch Talk, because it's we the people, for the people, because the pitch is where we eat, sleep and talk as well. And you know what? One interesting thing that's come up recently is a rule change by UEFA. Now, give a bit of context to this. 14th of February 2018, I should say, Arsene Wenger was kind of requesting a rule change because, well, he had signed Aubameyang. Well, Arsenal had signed had signed Aubameyang from Dortmund, and it was one of them ones where it was like Wenger was a little ticked off because Dortmund had dropped into the Europa League. And obviously, because of the rules and the way they're structured at the moment, Aubameyang couldn't play in the Europa League because he'd already featured for Dortmund. So it was in European competition. So it was one of them ones where Wenger was a little ticked off, considering he paid 57 million for Aubameyang and couldn't use him in the Europa League. He was a little ticked off. But fast forward a month to March 27th, 2018, and UEFA announced something very, very interesting. They announced, and you know what? I'm actually gonna quote this. They announced that players will be able to represent two different clubs in the same European Cup competition from next season after they changed their rules. There were also two other changes as well. A fourth substitute will be allowed in extra time. Doesn't affect the previous three, but a fourth substitute will be allowed in extra time, which is a big game changer as well, potentially. And also some Champions League group games will kick off earlier. So it's one of them ones, 5 to 6 kickoff. So really kind of odd one. But let's take these in reverse order. The 5 to 6 kickoff, personally not really a fan of. Usually you get it when someone's playing out in Moscow or something like that. Personally, not a fan of it. Not the greatest fan of it at all. But, hey, is what it is. They're trying to maximise the amount of games that they can have on TV. But also, the final group stage fixtures, I think, will all kick off at the same time. So the 7:45 kickoff will be there for that. But it is one of them ones that could be kind of big going forward in terms of negotiating TV rights. So that's definitely one to kind of watch this space on, for lack of a better term. But one of the other things, the fourth substitute in extra time, I think that's a very interesting one, because I think it was actually Gerard Houllier a few years back who was pitching that, because obviously he was on the board at UEFA. And it always struck me as a rather interesting idea. He was touting it for international level, but the fact that the Champions League are looking to potentially bring that in makes it quite interesting, and it will be brought in from next season, the 2018-19 season. So it's going to be accommodated. Now, obviously, you get your usual three substitutes. That fourth sub is only for extra time. So obviously, in the knockout stages, that's where it could become very interesting. I mean, imagine you made all three of your subs in a final and you've got one more sub left. Could be crucial. But it's one of them ones where I think it's an interesting idea to trial, but they said they're just going to bring it in. So it's like, okay, cool, fine. But I think that could be an interesting one. In a match that goes into extra time, you having an extra roll of the dice, could be good. But I think the away goals rule is probably the thing that they want to change more. But Baby steps. But the big one. A player being able to represent two different clubs in the same competition is massive. I mentioned earlier with Aubameyang, there's Diego Costa, there will be Felipe Coutinho as well, among other examples. And I mentioned those examples and Aubameyang in particular, mainly because they're big money signings. I mean, imagine having a signing that you paid 50, 60, 70, 100 million. Look at Coutinho's case, 105, rising up to 140 plus in terms of incentives and all that. But it's a case of imagine having that costly a player and you can't play him in Champions League, for instance, competition that everybody wants to win. And as well, that would be frustrating no end, because if I'm spending 50, 60, 70 million on a player, even if I'm spending only 20 to 30, I want him playing in every single possible game that I can have him playing. And I would want that to be every single game under the effing sun. Because at the end of the day, whether you're paying 35, 25, 85, 205, you want to maximize what you get out of that player. I mean, imagine Mo Salah and his hot streak this season. Of course, I'm a Liverpool supporter, so I'm going to mention Mo Salah. But it's one of them was, imagine having his hot goal scoring form and then you can't use him in the Champions League because he's representing someone else. Because he's... It's one of them ones where it's like, that's going to make things very, very interesting, especially in the summer. Because in January, that opens up a few things. But imagine in the summer as well. There have previously been times where players haven't been played in, say, a Champions League qualifier or an early group stage game because they're looking to sell them later on. Kind of removes a bargaining chip for certain clubs where it's kind of like, well, there's no such thing as him being cup tied anymore because he can represent two clubs in the same competition. So it's one of them was, it kind of removes a little bit of club power and kind of shifts it a bit more towards player power, if you want to think about it in that way. But I think it's an interesting move, and as I said, considering the massive transfer fees for certain players these days, I think it's a good move because it's a necessary move. It has to be done. As I said, imagine paying 200 million for a player and you can't use him in Europe's biggest competition, even in the Europa League as well. If you can't use him in that's got to be frustrating. As I said, can understand Wenger's frustration with not being able to use Aubameyang because Dortmund dropped into the Europa League as well. Can understand that, fully understand that. But now that that's gone, it's going to be very interesting to see how clubs do the whole kind of bargaining thing, especially with clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona buying from Premier League clubs, and Premier League clubs trying to get their players cup tied so that they can sell them in January for a bit more money, and also know that they're not going to get stung by that same player coming back against them in European competition. But now that that's gone, it's going to be very interesting. But you know what? Fourth sub, I'm in favour of. It's quite a good idea actually. The 5 to 6 kickoffs, not a fan of, but I can see why they're doing it. It's a case of maximising the amount of games that they can show in one day. Imagine you show one at 5 to 6, then you show one at 7:45. It's one of them ones. It works for TV rights. If you want to maximise the amount you're getting out of it. So if you're paying £2-3 billion for Champions League rights, if you're BT Sport, you're going to want to show as many games as possible. And imagine you get, say, a Real Madrid-Barcelona game in the semi-final, and you could set that to a 5 to 6 kickoff, and then you get, say, Juventus-Liverpool in the other semi-final, and you could set that 7:45 on the same night. You could have them running back-to-back. Imagine the promo opportunities. So, as I said, if you're paying billions, you want to get the most out of it. Just like with clubs, if they're paying multi-millions for players, hundreds in some cases, you want to get the most out of it. So, you know what? Those three changes, fourth sub, I'm in favour of. 5 to 6 kickoff, not a fan of it, but can understand it. And also, the same player being able to represent more than one club in European competition in the same season, that's going to blow the doors off the January window, I'll say that much. But you know what? It's going to be very, very interesting. Hey, I want to hear your views too. Remember, facebook.com/pitch talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution. We're working so hard to create. pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will get you to the blogs. We got, of course, podcasts as well on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, and Spreaker as well. Mixcloud has the older archive. Hit us up on iTunes, give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe as well. Also, twitter.com/pitch talk or @pitch talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we're up to. Remember, I am at SSLJA on Twitter. Facebook.com/Straight Shootin LJA as well. No G on the end of shooting. But here's one of them ones. I have been Straight Shootin LJA, and you know what? On behalf of myself, Jesse Fizzle, and the G-Man, this has been another episode of the Straight Shootin View. Drop me your comments down below. Love to hear what you think on the new UEFA changes. The changes to their rules. The fourth sub, player being able to represent more than one club in the same season in European competition. And also the 5 to 6 kickoffs as well. Let me know your views. Comment section below. Take it easy, peeps.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages,
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez. Christian Carambeu.
Welcome to your footballing fix.
Pitch talk. Pitch talk. Pitch talk.
We've got football videos on YouTube,
Blogs, debates and discussion on Facebook and Twitter.
plus we do a podcast and so much more.
It's we the people for the people.
For our videos, including our interviews and special features, check out youtube.com/pitch talk.
Our podcast can be found on iTunes, Podomatic, TuneIn Radio, and Spreaker, with older podcasts on mixcloud.com/pitch talk.
Join the football revolution, because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
Join us on social media by searching for Pitch Talk.